This one is a winner. What I like about it, it's actually a very healthy soup, but it's a really hearty soup. So if you're, trying to watch it and be healthy, it's actually going to be very satisfying. So I love eating healthy, but I don't want to be starving after I just ate my meal. You know what I'm saying? I want to feel like I'm full and satisfied. And this soup will do it. It's a quick and easy bean soup recipe, and it is absolutely delicious. I promise you'll have this ready in 15 minutes or less. So sip of coffee, and we're going to get to work on recipe number 1. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get some olive oil, and you can cut back on this. You can use, just as little as you need to get your onion and your celery going. So we're going to start out with about a cup or 1 small onion that's diced. I like to put a lot of veggies in my soup. And making soup just makes the house smell so good. So today's show is all about, really quick and easy recipes. And this one just doesn't get much easier. If you don't feel like taking the time to chop up onion, they actually have pre-chopped onion now in the produce department of your grocery store. Or you can buy bags of frozen onion that you can keep in the freezer and just take out what you need when you need it. So that's another kind of time-saving tip. Celery, you pretty much usually have to dice that up yourself, but that's simple enough. I like to use lots of celery in my soup. Really good for you, adds some great flavor. Yeah, this is cool actually. We're really excited about this. Is pre-peeled cloves of garlic. That's another kind of a hassle. I love using fresh garlic. I really don't think there's anything like it. In a pinch, you can use the jarred garlic that you find in the produce section, but I just think, wow, if you've got the time, fresh garlic, especially we just have such a few amount of ingredients in this recipe that fresh garlic just rocks. And now you can actually buy it in bags already peeled, which is fantastic. So Anne is loving life. She helps me get ready for the show, so that's one less thing she has to do, and it's great. Do we have a bag of it I can show in the fridge? Pretty excited about this. Yeah, loving it. So found it right at Festival in the produce section, and it's already pre-peeled, and they're individually wrapped, so you can just take out, basically they're 3 cloves in one little pouch, which is 2 to 3 cloves is about what we're looking for here. Why didn't I think of this? Somebody was really smart. And then the easiest part about this recipe is that we're using canned beans. I think that's kind of the hassle with bean soup, is having to soak the beans and boil the beans and all that kind of stuff. Now, I'm just adding a little more olive oil. We love our Jejora olive oil. And olive oil in moderation is good for you, but I could just tell the pan was getting a little bit too dry. If you were to use a non-stick pan, you could use less oil, and you could even just use cooking spray, that olive oil cooking spray. Or put olive oil in one of those spray bottles. I want to get one of those. I don't have one of those yet, but I really want to get one of those. So you retake olive oil and you put it in one of those spray bottles that's meant for olive oil, and basically create your own cooking spray and just getting a little bit of olive oil in there. But when you use a non-stick pan for something like this, you're going to use a little less oil. So there's another quick, easy, healthy tip for you. Okay, canned beans. Well, I'm waiting for my veggies to cook down a little bit. We're using 3 cans, 15-ounce cans each, of Great Northern beans. I love to keep canned beans on hand in my pantry so that if I'm feeling like making soup on a Sunday and I'm kind of in my jammies or my sweatpants, I don't need to run to the grocery store. I'm trying to put beans in more and more recipes. I remember making chili for years, and my kids would pick out every single little bean in the chili, and it'd be, sitting on their plate. Well, as I've gotten older and I've just started putting beans in more things, they actually, both of them love beans. And it's a great way to get some more fiber and kind of bulk up your recipe and they're very filling. And I know you love beans too. I'm one of those people, if I want to cut back on, watch what I'm eating, I love doing that. I think that's a challenge to do that. The challenge to also make it taste really good and stick with it, I guess, so I know for me, going like an all grapefruit and on one of those crazy diets with all, hard-boiled eggs and whatever those things are, that's never going to happen for me. So soup is a great way to go. Healthy soup is just the perfect way to go. Great for lunches and really makes a nice light dinner if you're keeping it pretty healthy. So this so far, very, very healthy. The one thing with these canned beans, although I love them, they rock, is you need to take the time, which is only a minute or so, to dump them into a colander and run water over them to get rid of this liquid that's in the can. You don't want that to get into your soup. It's just not a great flavor. So just drain and rinse those beans a second. We'll just let them sit in the colander for a second. And there we go, that easy. All right, now we're gonna get our garlic in. When we're using fresh garlic, really important to only have it in there for about 30 seconds or so before we start adding the rest of the ingredients. I wanna get that great garlic flavor, but I don't want it to burn and get bitter. So once it hits the pan, don't walk away, don't take a phone call, don't check your email. Get right in there and stir it, stir it, stir it, just until you can start to smell the garlic, which I can. And now it's time to start dumping the rest of the ingredients in here. So chicken stock. This is another thing that I probably should have invented. What was I thinking? These days, we are so lucky to have, instead of bouillon cubes or bouillon granules, and instead of canned chicken broth, this is so much better. It's the boxed chicken stock, and it's the real deal. I mean, they basically take chicken and bones and boil that down, and the color is so rich, and actually, it's fantastic. Great flavor. So if you have an option, and it's really come down in price. When it first came out, it was kind of pricey. It's really come down in price. It's not expensive at all anymore. And you'll find it right next to the regular broth and the bouillon and the soup aisle of your grocery store. What I love about it is that you can use what you need. We happen to use the whole box here. Put the top on and store the rest in the refrigerator. So that's another good way to save time and money, is to buy the box, the stock, which is fantastic. So I'm just waiting for this to come to a simmer, and I'm going to add the rest of my ingredients. Now, this is a quick and easy ham and bean soup. You could keep this soup recipe vegetarian and use vegetable stock, which you can also get at the grocery store, and leave out the ham. I'm using ham, but you could also use the chicken sausage if you wanted to keep it nice and healthy. You can buy that pre-cooked chicken sausage, has great flavor. Just dice it up, a little more healthy for you. You could also use bacon. Not quite as healthy for you, but if you're doing, Sunday, making this on a Sunday, you've got leftover bacon from this morning's, bacon and eggs, crumble that in here toward the end. We actually happen to have some leftover ham. So, if you're doing ham for the holidays or any other reason, I love to buy ham on Sundays when they're shaving the hot ham and the rolls, and that's another thing great to have for the week. And then you can turn some of that ham, get it a little thicker cut, or even just buy a ham steak and dice it up yourself and throw it into this soup. My mom's a big fan of taking the ham bone whenever we do a ham, and she'll take that and put that in and let it cook low and slow all day. But again, this is a quick soup. So this is one of those that, which is the way I roll these days. If you don't have all day and you still want a really nice, soup for the week, 15 minutes or less. I'm also doing some potatoes in this soup. Now, this is just a couple of potatoes that we've peeled and diced. If you wanted to cheat and really take a shortcut and keep it extra easy, you can just use the frozen cubed hash browns, a couple of cups of that, and then in go our beans. A little bit of salt and pepper, but we don't need too much because we had the ham in there, which is salty already, and you can always season a little bit more toward the end. You don't want to get it too salty. That's never a good thing. And I'm just going to bring this to a simmer, and the minute those potatoes start to get soft, I get in there with and this is optional, if you want your soup a little thicker and not as brothy, I just get in there with a potato masher and mash up the potatoes and the beans just a little bit, and then you've really got a wonderful, hearty, thick, delicious soup. Garnish it on top when you serve it in the bowls with a little bit of chopped fresh parsley, or actually dill is really a nice one with this. Just a little bit of chopped fresh dill is kind of a nice fresh herb to put on top. And soup is on. So I'm just going to bring this to a simmer. In 10-15 minutes, it will be soup time. Great serve with, of course, crusty warm bread, or even just crackers for dunking and dipping, that type of thing. And if you're looking for this recipe, by the way, you can also just pick it up right on our website, fox11online.com. Click on the Living tab and recipes, and they'll be right there.